Nigeria's seat of power, Aso Rock Villa, has become a mecca of some sort as politicians fall on one another for visits and in search for place in the cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president had in the week named 8 out of the list of 20 special advisors he had earlier sent to the Senate for vetting and approval. Those appointed include a former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nuhu Ribadu, who is the special advisor on security, a former Lagos State Commissioner for Information, Dele Alake. Alake is a close ally of Tinubu, and he will continue to. We also have other top officials who will continue to act in various capacities, including Wale Edun, who will be acting as advisor on monetary policies, and he was a former commissioner in Lagos under Tinubu. Now, the appointments have led to an increase in the traffic of politicians into the Aso Rock presidential villa as he draws up his ministerial list, which we hear is still really being worked on. But President Tinubu's appointments are also raising a few concerns with calls for more inclusivity and the sharing of positions in his government. Well, to help us understand some of the issues being raised in terms of allegations of marginalization, discrimination, and inclusivity thrown up by Tinubu's appointment, and of course the pattern of his thinking, we have joining us in the studio the founder and chief executive of TAF Africa Foundation, Jake Epelle. His group has been at the forefront of civil rights campaigns in the country. Thank you so much, Jake.
Thank you for having me.
For joining us right away. So talk to us about your impression of Tinubu's thinking from the geopolitics of it to the issues of inclusivity, and then some people beginning to say, look, they are already seeing some coloration to some of the appointments.
Well, the first thing I said, I wasn't expecting him to appoint persons with disability as SA, because our agitation is very focused. We want a ministerial position. But at the same time, looking at the current appointment, just one woman.
No, two women, actually.
Oh, two.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Two. I think, well, I don't know, 8, 2. I expect a minimum of 3 to balance, to give women the sense of the inclusion, you know, and all that. But however, it's a good place to start. But I wasn't expecting an appointment from the SA for persons with disability. Rather, I'm expecting a ministerial position for persons with disability.
Okay, if you look at the geopolitics of it, there are 4 persons from the southwest, there are 3 from the north, and then of course you also have 1 person from the southeast. What's been your impression of
well, I really, really and truly, I don't care where you come from, if you can deliver. I think it's, and truly, I must say that the people so far are very competent, you know. And so I think we should begin to, yes, there's a need for equity and balance of power and all that, and geopolitics, but we should center on competence, you know, people who are competent for the job. I don't care whether you're from Maiduguri or from Port Harcourt, as long as you can deliver on what is expected of you. Yes, there's a need for the balance of, you know, character, you know, when it comes to federal character, you understand. But however, let competence be number 1. Don't give us opportunity to serve just because you want to be compassionate towards persons with disability.
Fill up a certain quota.
Exactly. But what we're saying is that there are persons with disability who have the competence to deliver. And the structure we have in place as of today, if they don't deliver, we can ask you to recall them, and we replace them with people who can deliver.
Now the major reason why I actually brought you here too, in addition to all these federal appointments, is that in Adamawa State, we saw someone who, as a person with disability, emerging as the speaker of the House of Assembly.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that, I mean, that's beginning to look like inclusivity from the state level. And so it's going to be, the focus is now going to be more at the federal level.
Well, our focus is not just at the federal level, my brother. We're also looking at the subnational, the government. I've spoken to at least 4 governors who have given me their word that, look, in my cabinet there will be 1 person with disability who will serve as commissioners. We're not looking for position. We're looking for purpose. We're looking for opportunity to serve. It's not about position or giving us a position because we're persons with disability. It is because we have the ability to contribute to nation building. That's our focus. And we must continue to push until this president becomes the first president to appoint a person with disability as a minister. It's not about the individual. It's about what we want to bring to the table. Think of what it will look like, what it will be, having a representation at the Federal Executive Council meeting. It will change all the dynamics. And by the way, kudos to a very good friend of ours. We're trying to reach out to him, the speaker. They have just been appointed.
Yeah, in Adamawa State.
In Adamawa State, yes. That's a good thing. That's the beginning of good things that will happen to the community.
Well, he wasn't appointed. He actually stood for election. And
exactly.
his colleagues actually found him fit to actually stay in that position.
Exactly. Yeah, he was elected, not appointed. And that's a good thing. And, well, we also have a governor who is a person with albinism, part of the disability community, who has been elected. That's the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Yeah. You know, I am also told that we have an elected member of the House in Kwara State. Incidentally, he also have albinism. But the Adamawa speaker is a good place to start with. A person who is physically challenged, who has been elected not on the basis of his disability, but on the basis of his ability and the competence he has to lead the people.
Yeah, especially that of Akwa Ibom State. When we saw that, I mean, we saw that Nigerians are beginning to wake up to the political realities that, I mean, governance is for everyone. It's not just for a set of people. But politicians may actually not see it from that perspective. They think that, you know, the job of a political office holder is full of rigors and it's for those who are physically fit and, who have the capacity to withstand the rigors at all times.
Everybody have one form of disability or the other. I mean, look at you, you're wearing glasses. Somebody can say that's a part of disability, you know. So it's not about what you see. It's about what that person possesses. It's the content of the person's intellectual capacity, you know, his ability to deliver. I will never subscribe to getting people into position out of emotion. It is out of the unction in that person, the power and the competence and the character of that individual to deliver in a given office. And that's what is most important. And there are many of us who have that capacity and the character and the competence to deliver if appointed a minister. You know, and that's why that opportunity must be given to the community. Not on mere compassion basis, but on the fact that we want to have that sense of belonging. We want to contribute to nation building. We want to lend what we have that is yearning to come out and contribute to building this nation.
Now, I want you to talk to us about the issues of discrimination generally. It's something that features in our polity very well, and it's one of the reasons why we brought you here to talk to us, because even the president himself was a victim of this discrimination due to his age, and some people said maybe because of his health and all of that. Why? How should we begin to look at playing politics of inclusivity? As President Bola Tinubu begins to build up his list, women are there, young people are there, the old are there, and all of that. How would you advise him to take a critical look at all these sectors of the society?
Number one, by destroying the myth that we cannot be appointed into an exalted office like that of a minister. See, when you have a person with disability or a woman or a young person occupy certain position, you have created a role model. You have created someone that will be able to mentor others to come into that same position. But also you have demystified this impression, this erroneous impression that, hey, these people cannot do anything, you know. I mean, the president, not too many people gave him a chance. But a few steps he has taken is creating a mind change. So it is not just trying to do us a favor, it's establishing a trend and a strategy that would demystify long-term notion that we cannot do anything until we are giving a handout. So giving that appointment will set the tone for how the next generation will treat persons with disability, will treat women, will treat the youth. So once that appointment is made and the individual performs, I love this country. Once you have results, they don't care about where you're coming from. The color of result or success does not change anything. It doesn't say anything other than this person is human being. So once the appointment is made, and secondly, the person performs, thirdly, the society holds him accountable and he lives responsible and display leadership skills, the rest is history. Oh. To change a myth, just speak the truth. That's all. The truth will always demystify any form of myth and even discrimination. In fact, when that appointment is made and the person performs, it will reduce this discrimination to its barest minimum.
Now, talk to us about the kind of cabinet that you would want to see when the Federal Executive Council is fully put in place. There are lots of challenges across the nation, right from the removal of the fuel subsidies to some of the problems that we are facing each and every day, the economy and all of that. What sort of Nigeria are you expecting out of, what's ongoing now, the decision to build a cabinet, and what areas should President Bola Tinubu be focusing on, and how can he source qualified people that can actually help to drive his vision?
Well, you're very smart. Too many questions, but let me take them one after the other. Number one criteria for hiring anybody, and the ministers are not just appointed, they are hired by one individual who represents the interest of the nation, and that's the president. Number one, competence. Competence. Don't make the mistake your predecessors have made by filling their cabinet out of nepotism. Is from my place, Hire competence first. Respect geographical spread, federal character. Respect inclusion of women. I want to see in this cabinet more women ministers, more youths, more persons with disability, so that you create a country that is truly a reflection of inclusivity, not only in the eyes of the international community, but in the eyes of the community of the people that you lead. Look out for leadership skills.
Have you seen that in the special advisors that he has appointed from all the
I pray that some of them will display what they have represented in the past, in recent times. I pray that many of them will not get involved in unnecessary rhetorics and trying to give themselves a pass mark when they are not performed. I pray that there will be people that will be willing to take criticism and turn it around positively to make a mark.
I'm asking this question specifically because President Bola Tinubu in Lagos, from his governance style, he's used to working more with special advisors than even body of commissioners. When he was governor, he worked more with some of these special advisors. And we are seeing that in some of the things that he has started now. When the ministers come, the ministers are constitutional, he must bring them in. But if he decides to toe that lane and he's working more with special advisors so as to deliver critical areas, then it means Nigerians have to pay attention to some of these advisors.
No, you can't have a rubber-stamped appointment. Just have a ministers there and then you've created special advisors and you are creating a kitchen cabinet. That's the same thing. It will translate to cabal, which is exactly what we don't want. Okay. It happened in previous administration, and this administration must pay attention to that. Don't appoint people if you know you're not going to use them. It's the deception of the highest order,
That some of the ministers are going to be forced on the president. He may not necessarily want them, but their party members are nominating them or other top leaders in the country and all of that.
I think there's a Bola Tinubu that we haven't seen. I think this man has a mind of his own. You can't force people on him, especially when it is obvious that those people will not perform. You cannot. I don't think he's that kind of person. But if he subscribes to that, then he's signing the contract for his failure, period. You know, that must not happen. For the kind of economy we have, if you bring people who don't have what it takes to crunch numbers and give us a strategic direction, to observe physical policies and merge them and bring about a robust economy, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so just before I let you go, very quickly, Mr. Epelle, there have been calls for reforms. The Labour Party too is saying that, look, Tinubu has started reforms at the CBN, they want reforms at NNPC and INEC.
INEC, of course.
Very important.
I
You were very
agree.
strategic during the last elections. You worked with INEC and eventually you saw what happened here and there. What sort of reforms would you subscribe to in INEC?
True institutional reforms that would look at holistically. For instance, I don't subscribe to large government. I think if this president wants to succeed, he has to work with a very small government. There are too many ministries that have no business being ministry.
Well, he already says he's going to start implementing the Royal
exactly.
report.
You understand? But so, number one, look at the entire institutional structure. Are there some of them that doesn't need to exist? Are there ones that you need to collapse, and bring them together? Many are working at cross purposes. Many of them. I wouldn't have Ministry of Humanitarian and Ministry of Women Affairs. No, it doesn't make sense to me. And some of those ministries statutorily are not supposed to be there, and we know.
Okay. Jake Epelle is the founder and Chief Executive Officer of Tough Africa Foundation. We must thank you immensely for joining us to help us look at all of this.
And I'm glad that your next topic is of interest to me. The kind of injustice that the indigenes of Abuja have suffered. And we must address
minorities
them.
And all
yes,
that
we
across
must
the
address
country.
them. We must address them.
Well,
that's part of inclusion.
Yeah, I mean, those are some of the issues we're looking at, the minorities and their stake in the next government of Nigeria being led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.